Ram Sarvebhyah Swagatam. A very warm welcome to all the participants. Guru Re Bhagatihi Guru Meva Bhaje Guru Naiva Sahasmi Namo Gurave Na Gurov Paramam Shishurasmi Guru Matirasti Guru Mama Pahi Guru Bravimi Sanskritam Vacha Dhyayami Sanskritam Hrida Kurve Sevanchakayena Vande Samskrita Mataram Yo Naras Samskrita Vyomni Hyalayam Ramate Muda Samskritim Chaiva Samskaram Vindate Natra Samshayaha. Yes. Swagatam Sarvebhyah. So, I am sure all of us are very excited to be part of this wonderful course, Rangavalli Rachanam and Pushpagratanam. So, it is time to know about the teacher for the course. Like, if you are attended previously the batch 1 courses, you will be aware it was one of the most successful courses in Vyoma. So it was conducted by Srimati Vanisri Ragupati ma'am. We welcome you. So let us quickly know about the teacher. So she's a software architect and also teaches Sanskrit shlokas around 500 people. And she's a devotee of Kanchi Mahapariva, and also she teaches bhajans on Mahapariva. And as you all know, she's very passionate about kolams, dance, music, and we'll get an opportunity to learn in this course. And she's also given many discourses in Tirupavai, and she's involved in many activities that is related to Sanatana Dharma. And we are very fortunate to have her conduct this course. On behalf of Vyoma, I welcome you, ma'am. Namaste, Ram Ram Ram. So before starting the class, here are some of the basic webinar guidelines which we should know. Once you log in, you will be redirected to the student dashboard page, wherein you will see this section, today's class. Click on Join Now button. There you will see this. There you will join the class every day. Can I join from PC, Android, iOS devices? Yes, of course, you can join with any device that has internet connection. And you will also be receiving a reminder email one day before, that is 24 hours and 1 hour before the class is being started. As you can see, we have the raise hand, chat, mute options. In case if you have anything that you need to ask the teacher, you can use these options. And using headphones might be better because for the better interaction and audio connectivity. And for people who are joining from iOS devices, you just have to go to settings, tap on Safari, and in the general settings, you just have to click on block pop-ups. And then you just have to select the website, that is sanskritfromhome.org, scroll down and click on allow block for this website. This is how you will be joining from iOS devices. And all the course materials and the recordings of this class will be uploaded in the content page. And one more request is, like, for all the participants to kindly close all the unused tabs while this class is going on, because for the better network connection. In case if you have any doubts, anything that you need to know about the course or Vyoma, you can always reach out to us through email, that is sanskritfromhome@vyomalabs.in. So I wish you all the best to all the participants. Very happy to have you all in this course. And let us learn as much as possible from this course and inculcate it. So thank you all. Over to ma'am.
Thank you, Vasudha ji. You can hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. How is everybody doing? Ram Ram, Namaste.
Oh,
Everybody is muted.
Ah.
You can probably...
Yes, they can
okay.
unmute.
They can unmute and speak. Okay, can I hear a very cheerful Ram Ram Namaste from everybody?
Ram Ram
Namaste to everybody.
Namaste.
Namaste. How many of you are excited to learn about columns? Everybody, hand raise. Excited? Okay. How many people were part of, how many of you were part of the December course that we had? A sweet little winter workshop. Okay, we have quite a few children who were there. Okay, so you, I think around Dharini, Samyukta, Jayantika, they can help me today to train the newbies. Can you do that? Yes? Yes? Can I get a thumbs up? So you learned something in December. See, in 6 months, I'm sure you've practiced quite a bit and you will be able to help the newcomers learn today, right? Okay, so we do have a small presentation through which we will run through. But before that, let's have a quick talk about column, right? Can somebody tell me, somebody new to this class, tell me what is column?
Rangoli pattern, ma'am.
It is a Rangoli pattern, correct. So what does it consist of? So say I do a pattern, does every pattern become a column? Does every pattern...
It has to be symmetric.
Symmetry is one very important aspect. Very good. So say I draw a pattern, does every pattern that we do become a column? Yes or no?
No.
No, right? It has to have some paddhati, some sort of like rules around it. I wouldn't call it rules. It's more around the way the column is actually structured. So how many of you have seen columns like firsthand? I know some of you are joining from other countries. You might not have an opportunity to see columns, but sure, I'm sure when you visit India, you would have seen columns, right? In your grandparents' house, in your relatives' house. How many of you have actually seen column and had a chance to see somebody do the column right in front of your eyes? Many? Oh, I see many of them who say they have seen columns. That's very good. So let's look through what is column. Anytime we take an art form, like somebody said, column is nothing but an art form. It is not just any art form. It is something which is very, very specific to our Sanatana Dharma, our Bharata Bhumi, right? You very rarely find other countries, other places, other religions that follow this particular tradition. So I would say that this is something which is very, very close to Sanatana Dharma, our Samskriti. It is very close to us, which is why column is nothing but a form where it is denoted. Whenever you look at a column, you relate it to a form of celebration. When you see it, you feel a lot of joy. When you see it, you feel like there is some sort of expression that happens there, don't you? So every time there is an art, you will see that the art can be called in different names. And similarly, column, though it originated in Tamil Nadu many years ago, lot of art forms that we follow today are pretty new, but column is something that has existed for a very long time. So this particular art form, though it had the origin mostly in Tamil Nadu, it is called by different names in different parts of India. So what are some of the other names that you have known for this art form?
Rangoli.
Rangoli. Very good. Rangoli is one. Very good. Okay. What else?
Muggu.
Muggu. Very nice. It's in Andhra Pradesh, Karnataka, they call it Muggu or Muggulu. Correct. Then any other names? Pookalam, right? It's called Pookalam. Where is it called Pookalam?
Kerala.
Kerala. That's
Kerala.
correct. You can flip to the next slide and hit enter, Vasudha. So it's called Rangavali. You call it Pookalam. You call it Rangoli. You know, when you do it for Diwali in North India, they call it Rangoli. And then Muggulu. And when we call it kolam. Right. So now you have different names for the same art. Of course, when it is done in different places, the way the pattern is formed, the way they do it could be little different. Also, it depends on where they are doing it. And then we will see a little bit about that. So since it is an art form, it is important for us to know why this is being done. So don't you ask your mother when something needs to be done, Amma, why do I need to do this? What am I going to get out of it? How do I do it? So these are some basic questions that you need to answer, that you need to understand when you take up an art form, right? Dance, for example, or music, for example. These are all different forms of art that you can, through which you can express yourself. And when you have an art form, you have specific steps or sopanam through which you go. For example, I'm sure many of you learn music here. So when you go to a music class, what do they teach you first? Do they straight away start varnam? They don't. What do they tell you? They give you a little bit introduction about what is music, how music was formed, what is a raga, and then also about, you start from your basics. You start with Sarali Varisai, Janta Varisai, and then you do small geetams, bhajans, and then kritis, varnam. So you go step by step. The same with dance, right? When you, how many of you learn dance here? So when you go for classical dance, so you have these adavas that you have to go through. You have these mudras that you have to learn. And then you go one by one. You do Alaripa, you have Jatishwaram, and then you have Varnam, Pushpanjali, Kautuvam. So you go step by step. It's the same here. But before we actually get into how these steps are formed, how do you go from one step to the other, it is important to know and answer the different questions around that art. And I would highly encourage kids, whenever you learn something new, you should pose these questions to the person teaching, or find out the right person who can answer you with these questions. So we'll start with what. Whenever we want to do something, the first question is, hey, what is it, right? What is kolam? Like we said, it is a traditional art. It is not something which is very new. It is not a nutana art. It is something that has existed for a very, very long time. And you can think of your ancestors, and ancestors would have done kolams in different forms in different places. When you look at a kolam, so there is a sample kolam which is given there. And some of you might have seen this kolam before in the last session. So what is it made up of? Like, I know it is made up of kolam powder and color, but the moment you look at that pattern, what do you see? You see geometric shapes, right? Kolam is nothing but a combination of different kind of geometric shapes, whether you believe it or not. So you all learned shapes in your math class? Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, what are some of the shapes that you have learned?
Circle, square, rectangle, triangle.
Triangle. So can you say some of the shapes in the column there?
Yes.
Yes.
Triangle.
Triangle.
Circle.
Circle, right? This is a mandala art column. So mandala art is very specific to circle. It's formation of circle and expansion of those circles. So who was that? Very, very beautiful voice, one little kid answered. So you see circles, you see triangles, you see arcs, you see sort of in the center, you can see little rectangles, right? And whenever you see column, so you have these traditional columns which are done only by using the flour, the rice flour or the wet flour. But a lot of times for festivals, you also add color to it. So it makes kolam very colorful, right? It is an art. It's a traditional art. It comprises of geometric pattern, and it follows a specific paddhati when you actually do it. When you do a kolam, you have to do it in a specific way for us to get positive energy from that art. Like, for example, when you do dance, you would hear the teacher saying you have to do it in Aramandi, right? You have to sit in that particular position and then do it. When you sing, your teacher might have told you, you have to sing in Akaram, you have to stop at this place, this has to be elongated, and then with the Briha, you have to join with the next line, and you have to sit erect, you have to do Sadhakam. So every art form has a specific paddhati that you have to follow. Similarly, in kolam, though when we start, we can be little relaxed about these, but then to get maximum benefit out of the traditional art form that we are following, it is also important that we follow those traditional, if I may say so, the rules around it. And then what else about kolam? You can go further, Vasudha ma'am. So it is decorative. It is also sacred, right? A lot of times kolam is associated with the religion that we practice, which is Sanatana Dharma. So you would see, whenever you see a kolam, do you see people walking on the kolam? No, you would hear your parents saying, hey, don't stamp on the kolam. It is a form of bhakti and devotion that is expressed towards God. So whenever we want to express that, this is one form. You can sing Nama Sankirtanam, and then you can express your bhakti. If you love Krishna, you can do a beautiful varnam. Or if you love Lord Muruga, you can do a beautiful varnam where the love that Valli has for Muruga can be expressed, and you can imagine you to be that Valli, right? Similarly, kolam is also an art form where through these patterns that are drawn, you express your bhakti towards Paramatma. So it not only improves the connection that we have, you would also feel that it is extremely therapeutic, and we would see that in the why part. You can move further, Vasudha ma'am. So it is a form, it is extremely sacred. That is why you would say people don't stamp on the columns when you see them, you don't walk on them, right? Now, where do we actually do it? Where do we do it? Normally, where are columns done?
In front of our house.
Correct. Most of the time.
Even in temples.
Correct.
I'm
Most
going to
of
ask
the
a question.
Yes, now, what is the question, ma?
In the before slide, you showed us do something like God's blessings. We do everything, Rangoli and all.
Correct.
Ma'am, we also put Rangolis in front of the puja room.
In front of the puja room, right, which is what is given there. So threshold is nothing but the front of the house, right, which is what mostly we do. Around 90% of the times you will see the kolam outside the house, but then every day you would also see, if you have a small puja space in your house, you would also see your mother, or I am sure some of you already do little kolams for God there, and then you do it there and you keep the flower there separately for the puja griham, swami room, and then you do it there. Of course, you also see it in the temples. Every time you enter a temple, you would see kolam right at the entrance of the temple. You would see kolam right before the Garbhagraham sometimes. You would also see kolams made of paint. If you go to these big temples like Madurai Meenakshi Amman temple, this kolam making is a big festival there. Every year, a few women, men folk get together and then they decorate the whole temple using these large columns that take hours together to put. Of course, when you celebrate functions and festivals.
Also put columns by flowers.
Yes, that will come under the type of the kolam. So, and then when you celebrate festivals, you would see that the place where the homam is done, place where the function is celebrated. Say there is a new baby that is born, you'll have the total ceremony, the cradle ceremony for the baby. Under the cradle, you would put the kolam. It is a form of welcoming the baby to the family. So these are all the times when we actually do kolam, the place where we actually do the kolam. Now, when do we do kolam? When are we supposed to do kolam? We usually do it during the mornings, early mornings, preferably
In the
before.
evenings also.
Yes, preferably. So compulsorily, we do it in the mornings before sunrise. And why we do it before sunrise, we'll talk about that. We also do it during dusk in the evening. So especially if you go to villages, you will see all of them out of their house, along the street, cleaning up their threshold with water. They would also use cow dung, which is supposed to be antibiotic. These days, we know it prevents infection from entering our house. So they
Ma'am,
would
they put there will be a slope. They put cow dung and after it dries, they put rangolis.
correct. So they would neatly clean that place, and then they would do rangoli using rice flour. And then of course we also do it using festivals, not just festivals in the house, even in the temples, and then special occasions. Like for example, festivals like the kolam that you see there. It's what do you see on the kolam? You see
And geometric
shapes, but what do you see on the kolam?
lamps.
Lamp.
Lamp.
Which festival?
Ma'am.
Which
Diwali. Diwali and Pongal, ma'am.
Kartike. Kartike, Diwali and Kartike. You do rangoli with lamps, and you keep the lamps on the rangoli, and that's supposed to be extremely auspicious, right? So these are some of the times when we do the kolam. When do we do it? We do it in the morning, we do it in the evening, we do it for when we celebrate festivals. For Krishna Jayanti, you must have seen your mother making little feet of Lord Krishna using the wet flour.
Ma'am, even we do it while puja is going on.
Correct.
Ma'am, they do Krishna Jayanti's Krishna's legs by kolam maav.
Yes, kolam, correct. So these are all special occasions when we do it. Who can do kolam? Only you can do, or I can do, or who can do kolams?
Everybody.
Everybody, right? Anybody who wants to experience the joy of that art, anybody who wants to connect with Bhagavan through this art, anybody who wants to express their bhakti, anybody, this is a form of emotion. And I want you to carefully listen why it is a form of emotion. Just like, you go for painting class, when you dance, there is a lot of positivity which is generated. When you sing, there is a lot of positivity which is generated. Similarly, when you do kolam, it is extremely therapeutic, because when you're doing kolam, you're focused there. Your moment is there. Your mind is not anywhere else. You're working through the kolam, whether it is using dots or whether it is just using random freehand pattern. There is a connection between you and nature there, which is why they encourage us to put kolam outside the home early in the morning, because when we wake up and when we come out, you need some physical exercise. The next slide, Vasudha ma'am. When you wake up, you have been lying down for a very long time at night. So when you wake up, you want some physical exercise for your body, right? So this is a form of physical exercise that we all can experience early in the morning. When we come out, you have to stretch and do the dots. You have to bend and do the kolam. You have to bend and clean the surface before you actually do the kolam. And then there is an emotional connect that happens between you and the kolam. And a lot of times what I have experienced, my mood is reflected in the kolam. On the day when I feel very bright, my kolam will be all like bright color. It will be like bright pink and bright red. And it will look really bright when you look at it. On the days when I don't feel so energetic, the kolam will still be good looking because I have that connection towards it. But then the colors that I would have chosen will be on the lighter shades, and that would reflect in the kolam. So you will be surprised what form of meditation you experience when you do the kolam. Initially, when we start, of course, we find it challenging with respect to doing dots. doing the kolam without dropping the flower, doing it in a way that it is extremely symmetric, doing and then joining it at the right points. I probably started doing kolam when I was, I think, 8 or 9 years old, and I used to feel very frustrated because the lines never used to come straight when I used to try. But then with practice, just like any other art, we can master it. And then once you establish that connection with the art, you will find amazing change in the way you approach the art. And which is why I want to thank Vyoma for taking this beautiful initiative of carrying this art to the next generation, because they are the ones who are going to carry it further, and making sure that this form reaches every house, every child. And they have been doing a fantastic job, not just with this, but about, Sanskrit, Samskriti, and making sure that our tradition and culture is alive. They have done so many things around it, and this is one such thing. And I want to thank Vyoma for giving me this opportunity again. So why do we do it? Like I said, it is a form of physical exercise. It is extremely auspicious when you do it. And also, it is a form of welcoming guests, right? So when guests come home, when they see a bright and beautiful kolam, they feel very happy. So Atiti Upacharam is something which is very specific to our culture. It has been talked about in Vedas and Shastras, how you should welcome your guest. That is, in fact, a paddhati by itself. So the first thing, what do? You offer an asana, you offer something to drink, you welcome them, you put a beautiful smile when you welcome them. So kolam is something which is immovable, which by default welcomes the guests that come to our household. Of course, it is also a part of social interaction. These days, we are all locked up in our houses, not interacting. At least now things have opened up. The 2 years of the pandemic, we were all inside, stuck inside the house, not talking to anybody. But in ancient times, and even today, on the days when I do the kolam at the specific time when everybody does it at the same time, I find myself talking to my neighbors, making a connection with them. So it is a form of social interaction without WhatsApp or Facebook or any other social networking website, right? So when you interact with them early in the morning, you exchange some kind and good words, and you feel happy about it. And that carries us through for the rest of the day. So which is why doing kolam is very, very important, not just from tradition point of view. It is also from the emotional point of view, where unknowingly, these are things that have not been passed on, in a book saying that, hey, you do kolam, this is the way of interacting with your neighbor. There is no rule book that says that. But once we start doing it, you find it extremely enjoyable. Now, a lot of us live in apartment complexes. So any festival that you celebrate, a few children can get together. You can find a common spot, and then you can decide on a kolam and then pick the medium that you want to do. That is a way of keeping yourself engaged. How many times, you would have bugged your parents? My children bug me all the time. Amma, I'm so bored. What do I do? So this is another art where you can all join together. Look at the number of women there who are doing that one particular pookalam there. If you count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, almost like 9 to 10 women there who are doing that kolam. So you can spend your time very positively interacting with each other, enhancing each other's beauty, expressing yourself, using your creativity. And then when you look at the end product, you feel a sense of joy, a sense of achievement. The kids who attended the winter camp, they were able to see the different types of rangoli. So the most common is the rice flour. So why we use rice flour? Because our culture strongly believes in coexistence, right? It is not about just humans. It is about other creatures too who actually exist in this on this earth. So early morning, it's a form of feeding that happens for little insects and ants. So if you do the kolam using rice flour, you will see that by afternoon, you'll see lots of ants and tiny, tiny insects eating them as food. So not only food for us, it is also food for other creatures who are there on this earth, who are also creation of Bhagavan, right? So the first one is rice flour. You can go further, Asudha ma'am. Next would be wet flour. So the same rice flour that you do, you can also do it using wet flour and rangoli powder, the color that you add. The color form came much later. Whenever we want to express an art, you would see that when you draw something, you add some borders, you use some color glitters, and then whatever painting you have done, you want to enhance it, right? So similarly, these colors came in much later. The old traditional form that we use for especially festivals, and when you see in temples during these temple festivals, which we call Tiruvizha in Tamil. So you do it using wet rice paste, where you have the rice and you make it into a paste, and then you add this red ochre. So the significance here is that the white part is the Shiva form, and the red part is the Shakti form. So it's the Perumal and the Tayar, or Shiva and Parvati. So on occasions, it's a sort of blessings that we seek from the divine couples. So whenever we do it using wet paste, let it dry, and then we add the red ochre, which we call sem man. Sem means red, man means sand. So it is sort of brick powder, which is also made into liquid form, and it is given sort of a colorful border for the white kolam. So it is a form of Shiva Parvati, both the masculine and the feminine energy, the protectors of us, the divine couple. So it's sort of like seeking blessings from them. You can go further, Asudha ma'am. Of course, there are other forms where you can do using flowers and leaves. Which festival do you do using these flowers?
Onam.
Onam, right? In Kerala, you would see this Onam for 10 days. They would do using kolam using flowers, and then on the 10th day, something will be like really big kolams. Last year in Guruvayur, they had done beautiful kolams using flowers, and it's so therapeutic when you actually see just those flowers put in like different forms, and it also involves some sort of thinking, right? Next to pink, should I do red or should I do white? After white, should I do yellow or should I do light pink? So it also involves a little bit of thinking and creativity, which enhances the beauty and the time that we spend in kolam. And then, of course, you also have these 9 pulses kolam. It is very famous when we celebrate Navaratri, where we offer these pulses to Durga Ma. So this is also a form which is practiced for festivals, especially Navaratri, and sometimes it's also done for puja, where using different grains, you offer this kolam to Bhagavan. So these are different forms. With respect to kolams themselves, the patterns, like we said, we have different sort of patterns, right? And patterns, when you start, you actually do it using dots. So this freehand kolam that we do, like the ones that you see there, that takes a lot of practice. Just like when you join your painting class, which is the first medium you start with? You start with anybody?
Acrylic.
Acrylic is the first thing you do?
No, crayon.
You do using crayons. After crayons, what do you do?
We start with pink.
You do watercolors, you do oil pastels, you do pencil shading, and then you go one by one, right? Similarly, these patterns that you see here, with practice over years, you will be able to do it. But when you start simple, but you start something very beautiful, which is done using dots. So kolam is usually done using dots. These dot patterns, the way you actually place the dots, you can either place it one below the other, or you can interlace them between 2 dots. Vasudha ma'am, you need to go further. You need to interlace them between 2 dots. So the dots and patterns can be one beneath the other, which is form of like a square pattern, or you can interlace it and place it in such a way that the formation of the shapes follow that form of dot pattern. So today we will start with simple dot patterns. You can mute everyone for now. Vasudha ma'am, I'll just take 2-3 questions and then we can start. Any
Yes.
questions? Any questions before we start? I know everybody is eager to have your hands on the rice flour. You can hand raise and then we can unmute you.
Ma'am, why do we use dots?
So when you okay, so it is just for you to get used to the column patterns. So for example, which grade are you in?
Ma'am, I'm in 5th.
You're in 5th grade. So what are you learning in math?
I'm learning like multiplication, division,
Multiplication. Correct. Factors, multiplication, division. Before multiplication, what did you learn?
addition, subtraction,
Before that, what did you learn?
place value,
Before that, what did you learn?
nothing.
You are, what did you learn in LKG and UKG? You learned numbers, right?
Yes.
The whole math is based on those numbers, right?
Yes.
So for us to get used to those patterns, it can be a free pattern, but for us, for our mind to get used to the patterns, we start with dots. But then there is also creativity involved around dots. So whenever you do dots, it's not like if you have a 3x3 dots, it's not like you have only one pattern or two patterns. You will be amazed at the number of patterns you can actually do just with 3x3, 3 rows and 3 columns. How many patterns we can get? So these are all forms of creativity. So in order to get that symmetry, so any column, when we look at, the first thing we look at is the symmetry of the column, right? The dots help us to maintain that symmetry. Dots also help us in connecting things and drawing a pattern in a better way. So initially, when you're drawing a line, you would use scale. When you get used to it, you will be able to draw a straight line by yourself without using a scale, right? So similarly, this is nothing but a starting point. But even today, you will see even elderly women and men doing columns using dots, because there is challenge involved in connecting the dots and creating the pattern. So everybody likes the challenge of connecting and creating. Good question.
But we use dots in kolam maav or kolam rice, but we don't use dots in like how to first start with flower rangoli.
Flower rangoli. Flower rangoli is a little bit easier, Karna. We will do that maybe on day 3. But to learn basic columns, we always start with dots. I can take one more question and then we will go to the practical doing of column. Anybody else?
How do we hold it, the powder?
Okay, we are going to learn that. Anything else? Okay, I think somebody has already started doing the column. They are way ahead of us already. Okay, Vasudha ma'am, we can switch to the gallery view so that I can see everybody following. Okay, before we get started, you all have your rice flour with you? Yes? Okay, now let's just try some simple strokes. And when I am doing the strokes, I will also tell you what is important to remember, right? Typically, when we do it for functions, not just functions, any column, by default, when you do the lines are supposed to be double numbered. They are supposed to be even number. So you do off here, and then let me see if I can get gallery lights. And also, initially, every time a medium is given to you, try playing with the medium to get a feel of it, right? That's very important. So it's a connection that you establish between yourself and the art. Can you try some alphabets? Can everybody try writing your name? I'm going to write. For this, it's okay if you use single stroke. Even when you do your alphabets, right? When you are in kindergarten, the first thing they teach you is standing line, sleeping line, arcs, slanting line. Similarly, with this medium, you have to get used to the different strokes. You can try U, you can try inverted U, you can try C, you can try inverted C, you can try slanting line, slanted across this direction. You can try slanting line, slanted across the other direction. If you're done with your name, you can raise your hand and then I can see. We are doing this just to familiarize ourselves with the medium that we are working with. Yes? Oh, I can see one name there. Two of them done. Can you show? Niketana is done. Abhirami is done. Vishuddha is done. Harshita is done. Sarvina is done. Very good. Were you able to get a feel for the medium that you're exploring? Yes? Good. Now, today we will start with Soumya has also done. Jayantika is done. Let me see. Gallery. Ah, very nice. Tejaswini is still working on it. Shreya is working on it.
Ma'am,
Yes?
ma'am, I'm not getting how to hold the rangoli. Can you tell?
Okay. So when you want to hold it, are you able to see my column screen, Kanna?
Yes.
Okay. So you hold it in such a way. You take your right hand. So it's usually done with your right hand. You hold in between your fingers, your index finger and your thumb. And then as you do, hold it closer to the ground. And as you take it along, slowly roll the thumb over the index finger. Look at auntie. Roll the thumb over the index finger. See, can you see? Roll and take it forward. And then move it in the direction in which you want to draw the line. So if you want to draw the line this way, you roll and then take it forward in that direction. If you want to do this way, turn your hand, right? Yes?
Okay, ma'am.
Were you able to get it, Kanna?
Yes.
Yes, good. And then whenever you do the column, you do it in such a way that you start from east to west or west to east. If the direction in which you're doing the column is not very cooperative because of the way your house is located, any direction is okay except south. Generally, when you end the column, you don't end it in the direction of the south. Okay? So especially if you're doing for functions, festivals, welcoming people, anything which is very auspicious and close to you, make sure. Other times also it's important, but particularly pay attention on such days that it doesn't end in the south direction. Yes? Okay, good. Now we will move on to some dots. Can I have everybody erase what they have done? You all have a piece of cloth with you? If you have erased, yes, Kanna.
Ma'am, swastik symbol I have tried with dots.
Oh, very nice.
Inside dots are there.
Very nice. Okay. I would like more children to switch on your videos, Kandamas. Only then I can know whether you are getting what I am teaching, right? If you have your video off and I don't see your column, then I won't know whether you are learning what you're supposed to learn. So position your camera in such a way that I can see your column. Oh, I can see the swastik Samyukta has done. Very nice. Now, we will start with simple dots. Okay. So we are just going to place 3 by 3 dots. So if it is 3 by 3, how many dots in total? How many in total?
9.
9. Very good. Somebody is good in math. So we're going to start 1. Take just little bit of the rice flour and then place it just as a marker. Don't drop too much. Don't put too much. Just put little bit so that it gives you some indication of where the dot is. So you have 1, 2, 3. So if you want equal spacing, you can use your left arm to find the spacing. So 1 dot here, 1 dot here, and then jump 1 dot here, 1 dot here. Got it? Now turn your hand and then do the dot here. So that it's equidistant. Again, 1 dot here, 1 dot beneath the second dot. Move beneath the second dot. Now turn again, the third row. Yes? Done with the dots? It's okay if the flour spills because you are learning only now, right? With time, you will know to release the flour only when you get closer to the ground. Don't release it from too far off. Don't release it from too far off. Don't do it from here or here. Take it closer to the ground and just release a little bit so that you know where the dot is. Done? All of you are done with the dots? Good. We are just going to do something very simple. Okay. You're going to join these 2 points. Join these 2 points. Harshita, are you done with the dots? I'm seeing the strokes. Are you ready with the dots? Now, sort of like a kite, right? Very good. I can see Abhinami, I can see Tejaswini. Good, Tejaswini. If you are not able to complete in one stroke, so for example, you have 3 dots. I hope you can see here. Now, you are taking the flour in hand. You are not able to complete in one go. Complete little bit, take it again, and then continue from there. The line might be a little bit distorted, but that's okay. With time, you will get it. Very good. I can see Aarti. I can't see Sarvesh and Shruti's column. I can see their beautiful faces though. Ah, very nice. What about Shreya? Samyukta, very good, Karna. Huger Renuka. I hope I pronounced it right. Shri Vibha, very good. Dharini, very good. Soumya, very good. Mahati, Medha, Jayantika, very good. Jayantika, is that chalk or flour? Very nice. Your stroke is very beautiful and thin. Initially, you might to get used to it, you can do thick strokes with time because it's easier to roll thick strokes. But with time, you will be able to get thinner strokes. Done with this part. Now let's continue. Good job, Sarvina. Now let's do, let me erase this. So do a V inside the dot here. Do you see a dot here? Do a V inside that. And then join the two edges using two arcs, 1 and 2. Do it outside. I'll do it one more time. I'll do it this side and then I will show one more time. So do a V inside and then join it using two arcs, 1 and 2. Let me show it one more time. You see? Are you able to see the other camera? Then I can do it one more time. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Inside, a V inside, and then an arc. A V inside, and then an arc. Very nice. Let me get my phone so that I can capture this and put it in the group. 1 second. I will show few more 3 by 3 today. Vasudha ma'am, you can let me know when you need to stop. I think the children are okay being here. I like to make them. Again, 3 by 3. If you're done with that, you can try this. This is also 3 by 3. So I'll just quickly show the number of 3 by 3 patterns. Can you see? These are all 3 by 3 patterns. It's the same 3 by 3, but you can do different patterns there. And then you can also color it differently. Now here. Let's try this. You all want to draw a butterfly? Who wants to draw a butterfly? Yes? So you do the same 3 by 3 dot and let's see if we can do a butterfly. Let me know, hand raise when you're done with the 3 by 3 dot and then I'll walk you through it. Very nice. I can see. Make sure that you take a picture, Kanna, before you erase it so that you can post it in the group. Mohisha is done. Harshita, I can't see your camera. Who's that? Tejaswini, very good. Her dots are so beautiful. Who else is it? Niketana, you're done with your kolam? Shri Vibha, very good. Shreya is also done. Good job, Shreya. What about others? Not everybody has turned on the camera. Vishuddha is done. Samyukta has also done another pattern. What is the, is it a bird? Very good. I'll just give you a minute to do the 3 by 3 dots one more time, and then we will do the butterfly. So some things to remember. Usually the strokes have to be even numbered. It should be 2, 4, 6, 8. We typically don't do 1, 3, 5. We avoid that. It's not auspicious. And then you do it using rice flour, right? We avoid using the stone powder, which you get. Because this kolam is also supposed to serve as food for these little ants and insects. Of course, now we are doing it as a workshop, so it's okay. But if you're doing it periodically, and you should do it periodically in your house, you should use rice flour. And don't end the direction in south. Okay. I think many are ready. 3 by 3 ready. I can only see Bharati. I can only see 2 Karna. You have 3 by 3? No, push the table back. Ah, yes, I can see it now. Mohisha. Mohisha is doing it in a slate. Very nice. Ready? Ready for the butterfly? Ready. Okay. So you have 1, 2, 3, the center 3 dots. Yes? Okay. Now make small arcs and join the 2 arcs. So it's basically like a bud in the top and bud in the bottom. I know I'm going little fast because I'm not used to doing it slowly. So I'm just going to do it over on top of that for you to learn. Okay, bear with me there. Very good. Ah, very good. Who's that? Aarti. Very nice, Karna. Niketana, very good. Dharini, good. Sarvina, done? Sarvina is still working on the dots. Okay. Okay. I'll wait for Shreya. Once Shreya is done with hers, we will do the wings. Butterflies have wings, right? Niketana, I can't see your kolam, Karna. I can only see you and the Veena. Ah, good. Now, ready for the wings? So when you do the wings, from the, not at the tip, but little bit just under, 1, 2. So you see a dot there, you connect just from underneath to that dot, and then a dot here. Similarly, an arc here, and then an arc here. If you want, you can even skip that and go out and come inside. It will make the butterfly wings a little more, outward, spread outward. Join the dot here. So you can, once you get used to the rice flour, you can even do this without having the dots. But to begin with, we always start with doing the dots.
Ma'am?
Yes.
So we can take 5 more minutes
Yes.
for today. Yeah. So, yeah.
And we'll continue tomorrow. We'll do 4 by 4. And then we'll also try slightly bigger rangolis tomorrow. If colors are available, you can make colorful butterflies. We all love butterflies for their color, right? When I was young, I used to love doing doll kolam. So I used to do this doll next to my mother's kolam all the time. I used to call it bomma kolam. Bomma in Tamil means doll. Oh, I love that Sarveshan Shruti's bright purple butterflies. I think this would have helped you get acquainted with the medium well. Did it help? Hey, I'm getting a thumbs up there, double thumbs up. Who else? Oh, I see some lovely border by Abhirami too. Shri Vibha has expanded her border. Dharini also has added beautiful flowers around. Samyukta's camera is a little dark. You should send a picture, Karna. Oh, very, very nice. I can see it now. Super pretty, very energetic and colorful butterflies there. Okay, we'll end the class now and then be ready for tomorrow. We will do little more. We'll go step by step. We'll spend the first few minutes doing little more, some more simple designs, and then we will do something a little more complicated. Are you up for it? Yes? Yes? No? Yes or no? Sarvesh is not up for it. Yes? Yes, double thumbs up. We can end, Vasudha ma'am.
Okay, thank you so much, everyone. We shall continue tomorrow. We will not have any sort of technical issues, hopefully, tomorrow. And we shall all join at 6 o'clock in the evening. You can share your columns, which you have done today in the WhatsApp group. The link has been shared in the chat as well. So, thank you. Thank you, ma'am. Punar milamaha. Ram, Ram, Ram.
Shanti mantram. Aham Shanti mantram vadami va bhagini.
Ha.
Sarve. Vadatu bhagini. Bhavati vadatu.
सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत् ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः राम राम राम
Ram Ram. Ram Ram.
Yeah, they can unmute.
Ram Ram ma'am.
Ram
Ram Ram.
Ram.
Thank you.
Ram Ram ma'am. Thank you ma'am.
Ram
Ma'am,
Ram.
I cannot copy the WhatsApp link.
You just have to copy the link and open it, or just click on the link. If you have WhatsApp web, you can just straight away join the group.
Ma'am, I joined the group, but can you also post it in the WhatsApp group, the link to join the WhatsApp group?
Yeah.
I will add.
Yeah, we will share it. Yeah.
Ram Ram.
Yeah.
Okay, Ram.
Can we leave, ma'am?
Yes, Dharani, you can. Ram Ram.
Ram Ram, ma'am. Ram Ram.
Ma-
Ram Ram, ma'am.
Ram Ram. Ram Ram.
Ma'am, can I ask a question?
Yes, Kanna.
It's actually for my daughter.
Ram Ram, ma'am.
You said Rangoli cannot be, ended in the south direction. Is there any specific reason?
Yes. So, who's asking this question?
Shailaja. This is
You
for
are-
my daughter.
Whose mother? Sorry, I'm just trying
Shail.
to.
I'm connected as myself, Shailaja. My daughter's name is Vanshika.
Okay.
Yeah.
So usually the direction south is associated with Lord Yama, and the last rituals that we perform, that is done
Yes.
facing that direction. So
Okay.
that's why, because kolam is supposed to bring a spaciousness to the family, we recommend not doing it with the kolam ending in the south direction.
So we should not face the south direction, or like the line should not end in the south direction?
Yeah, so when the line is ending, it preferably should not end in the south direction. So even when we pray, they say, right, when you can, or when you do namaskaram, you can do east, west, or even facing north. Like for me, this is south. So the preference is for my line not to end this way. So if I am doing, I should be in such a direction that it should end in the opposite direction.
Okay.
I know it sounds like it's too difficult to follow, but once you get used to your threshold, which is the entrance of the house, you will automatically do it in such a way. I know even if I have a deity face on this side of the wall, I would automatically turn and stand either this way or this way when I am praying, right? I typically don't face this way. For me, this is south. So it is just because it is associated with Lord Yama and then the last rituals, we usually don't do it facing that direction.
Ma'am?
I hope that answered your question.
Ma'am, I'm
Yes,
Samyukta,
ma'am, it
ma'am.
answered.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, Karna?
Ma'am, I have decorated my butterfly. Is it nice?
Very nice. Very pretty.
Thank you, ma'am.
Very pretty. I love your borders. I also like Tejaswini's. Very nice.
Ma'am, you asked a notebook. What for, ma'am?
Just in case you want to note down some patterns. Suppose we are doing, tomorrow we are doing one or two at the same time, and then you're still in the first one. At least quickly you draw. The other thing is these recommendations that I am saying, right? You can write it down in the notebook so that you will always remember them.
Okay, ma'am. Ma'am, I just want to inform you. I'm putting a note for columns and maintaining it. Every day I'm putting different columns, ma'am.
Very good, Kana. That is how we all start. That is how we all start. Very good. And save the notebook. Make sure that you maintain the notebook. I still have my olden days.
Ma'am, I have a doubt in columns, ma'am.
Yeah.
In winter camp group, there is one column like 5 to 3 to 3. What dots will come for that, ma'am?
Those are interlaced dots, which we will do either tomorrow or the day after. I think day after will be wet flower. We'll see if we can do interlaced tomorrow.
5 to 2 double 2 is coming, ma'am. Double times 2 is coming.
2 is coming. Sometimes you, just to complete the pattern, you will see like that. Sometimes you will see 5, 5, 3, 1, 1 or 5, 4, 3, 3. Because the pattern will be in such a way that you need those extra 3 on each side to complete the pattern. So that comes with
okay, ma'am.
Ram Ram.
Thank you, ma'am. Shall I leave?
Yes.
Ram Ram ma'am.
Ma'am, actually, we have joined through laptop, and we are not able to join the WhatsApp group link.
Okay. Vasudha ma'am, can you help?
You can share your number, ma'am, here. We will make a note and add you there in the group.
Okay, ma'am. In the chat box, I have to send the number.
Yeah.
Okay. Sure, ma'am.
Ma'am, how is this Rangoli?
Who's that?
Ma'am, this is Vishuddha.
Very nice, Kanna. I saw yours. Very pretty.
Thank you, ma'am.
Be patient. I love your strokes. Very neat. Okay, Ram Ram, we will meet again tomorrow.
Okay, ma'am. Ram Ram ma'am.
Ram Ram.